If you tried lion's mane and felt nothing, you probably weren't actually taking lion's mane. I know that sounds crazy, but stick with me for the next 8 minutes because what I'm about to show you might make you angry and it'll definitely make you reconsider how you're buying your mushroom supplements. What if I told you that most lion's mane supplements on Amazon contain more rice than mushroom? And what if I told you that the supplement industry knows this and that they're counting on you not knowing the difference? My name is Ian, and for the past 4 years, I've been growing lion's mane mushroom here in Texas and selling them at local farmers markets. What started as a way to help my own brain fog turned into an obsession with understanding why some lion's mane supplements work and why most don't. Here's what the supplement industry doesn't want you to know. When you see lion's mane on a label, you're probably getting what's called mycelium on grain. Not all the time, but many times. Think of it this way. The lion's mane mushroom is like an apple on an apple tree. The fruiting body is the actual fruit, the part with all the nutrients. And the mycelium, that's more like the roots or the organism itself. But here's where you run into a problem. These companies that grow mycelium, the roots, on grain, usually brown rice or oats, grind it up and put it all in a capsule. So you're getting maybe 10% of these mushroom roots and 90% rice flour or oat flour. It's basically a starch supplement at that point. That makes the potency very, very small. According to research by McCleary and Draga in 2016, and I'll link the study below, mycelium on grain products contain less than 5% beta-glucans, the compounds that actually help your brain and your gut, and 60 to 70% alpha-glucans from the starch in the grain itself. In comparison, mushroom fruiting body only extracts, that means they're extracting only from the mushroom itself, yield around 30% beta-glucans according to the study. But look at Amazon's best-selling lion's mane supplements. Host defense, mycelium on grain, micro ingredients, mycelium on grain. Double wood, I never even heard of that. You guessed it, mycelium on grain. So why do they do this? Simple. Growing mycelium on grain takes 2 weeks and costs pennies. Growing actual fruiting bodies takes 2 to 3 months and costs 10 times more. And to show you what I mean, I brought my own. This is it's what we call a colonized grain bag. And it's colonized with lion's mane mycelium here. Let's see if you can see that. Those white strands, that's all mycelium, and it's growing through the oat. Kind of looks like a lot, right? But check this out. I'm gonna get a handful of this, and I'm gonna show you what it really looks like. See that, Matt? Looks like a lot, right? When I take a clump of it in my hand, let's take a look. Yeah, that's not very potent. Now here's a whole lion's mane fruiting body from my farm. So we don't use any grain. We use real lion's mane. This is all that goes into the extracts on our farm. So you can tell there's a big difference, right? All of that mushroom is the actual biological material of the lion's mane itself, whereas with the grain that I had, that was just grain, right? Now, I want to pause and I want to clarify something. There is research that shows that the mycelium, the roots, produce molecules called arenacine A through S. These molecules could potentially be even more potent than the hericenones in certain mechanisms. However, it must be grown in a liquid culture bath, freeze-dried into a whole powder, and then carefully packaged to preserve its efficacy. The arenacine A molecule is actually pretty heat sensitive, and it can decompose pretty easily if you subject it to the high temperatures that we normally dehydrate the lion's mane fruiting body at. As far as I know, only one company sells the whole powdered mycelium grown in submerged fermentation, but even that wasn't full spectrum, as far as I could tell. So the bottom line is, if you see mycelium on the label, it's usually referring to mycelium on grain, and you're going to want to avoid it. So I discovered the hard way. My first experience was a brand that had, let's just say, an O and an M in the name. I'm not going to cast any shade, but after taking this scentless brown powder, I really felt nothing. So I started researching and went down the rabbit hole. Here's what real lion's mane does. According to a 2008 Japanese study by Mori on cognitive function, the fruiting body, the actual mushroom, contains compounds called haricinones that can cross the blood-brain barrier and stimulate your brain's natural production of NGF, nerve growth factor. Then, in another study by Mori in 2009, early adults with mild cognitive impairment took real lion's mane extract for 16 weeks. Their cognitive function scores increased significantly, but here's the kicker. When they stopped taking it, their scores went back down. So that shows that lion's mane is working. It's not a placebo, but only if you're taking the real thing. So how do you spot the real thing? Here's a rough checklist to look for when you're analyzing your next supplement that you want to take. Look for fruiting body on the label. That's the first big one. If it doesn't specifically say fruiting body, it's probably Mycelium on grain. And this is your first best place to start. Look for extraction ratios. Quality lion's mane will say something like 8:1 extract or 10:1 extract, meaning it takes 8 to 10 pounds of mushroom to make 1 pound of extract. If you can get 36:1, more power to you. Dual extraction is key. The best product to use both hot water and alcohol to get all the beneficial compounds. That's the terpenes that contain the haricinones and the polysaccharides that contain beta-glucans, which is what you want. You don't want just any polysaccharide, you want beta-glucans. Third-party testing. If possible, a certificate of a guaranteed percentage of beta-glucans from a third-party testing lab is ideal. Smell it. If an extract has legitimate terpenes and beta-glucans, when you open the cap, it should smell like a mushroom. You should smell the volatile organic compounds emanating off of the powder, whether it's encapsulated or loose powder, and being off-gassed by these potent molecules. And you should smell that. You should also taste it a little. After finding that many supplements that were not potent or effective, to say the least, I knew lion's mane worked. I'd heard the testimonials online. I'd done the research on the science. As the saying goes, sometimes if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. So I started growing my own. I started dehydrating them. I started powderizing them into whole powders and teas and selling them. So a lot of customers tried a whole powder of lion's mane. That's just taking the mushroom, it's dehydrating it, powderizing it, and then mixing it into a tea. So you're getting a hot water extract, just the beta-glucans. The response that I got back from the farmers market customers began flowing in. People back for their second, third, fourth bottles. I won't make any claims, but many people did bring stories that were miraculous. So I decided to double down and work with a professional extraction lab in the USA. We'd grow them, we'd dehydrate them, and then we would use a fully vetted company that would do a 36:1 water and alcohol dual extract of our mushrooms. That means, again, 36 pounds of lion's mane mushroom to make 1 pound of extract. We'd freeze dry them to lock in the beneficial molecules and then encapsulate the powder. Simple. So it's not cheap, but it's real. And look, I'm not here to push my product on you. Get it from whoever you want, but please get the real thing. Your brain deserves better than rice flour capsules. So if you have had a bad experience with Mycelium on grain and you want to see if pure fruiting body extract lives up to the hype, I invite you to take the 10-day challenge. Link in the video description. It includes a free guide to follow up with quizzes that email you to track your progress. And if this video did help you avoid on wasting money on substandard mushroom supplements, please hit the subscribe button, like, and leave a comment. It helps with the algorithm, but most importantly, it helps me know that I'm delivering some value to you. And remember, you're not crazy if lion's mane didn't work for you before, you just weren't taking real lion's mane. So I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.